Chapter 1: The Digital Awakening. The year was 2025, and the world teetered on the brink of a technological renaissance, a time where the future's promise was marred by the decay of its own making. The cityscape was a chaotic tapestry of towering holographic advertisements, each vying for attention amidst a backdrop of crumbling factories and rusted steel skeletons. Amongst this juxtaposition of progress and neglect lived Julius Charles, a man whose life mirrored the very world he inhabited. Julius was not what one would call an extraordinary man. His days were spent in the rhythmic clamor of a steel mill, his body carrying the evidence of years spent in laborious toil. Yet, beneath the layers of soot and sweat lay a mind that yearned for more, a mind that had found solace in the digital realm. His evenings were dedicated to tinkering with an aging computer, a relic from a bygone era that still hummed with potential. It was during one such evening, as the neon glow from the city filtered through his small apartment window, that Julius stumbled upon an anomaly. His fingers danced across the keyboard, navigating lines of code with an ease that belied his self-taught status. He had been exploring Dovable, a popular AI app-building platform that promised to democratize technology for all. But something was amiss. "Damn it!" Julius muttered under his breath, eyes narrowing at the screen. His tokens, digital currency used within the platform, were vanishing without explanation. He watched as they dwindled, a trickle that threatened to become a torrent. It was as if someone had tapped into his account, siphoning away his hard-earned progress. "Julius, are you coming to bed?" Sandra's voice cut through his concentration, pulling him back to reality. She stood in the doorway, her silhouette outlined by the dim hallway light. "In a minute," he replied, though they both knew it would be more. It always was. Sandra sighed, crossing her arms. "You said that last night, and the night before." Julius turned to face her, taking in her weary expression. Her health had been fragile for some time now, and the strain of his obsession only added to her burden. "I think there's something wrong with Dovable," he said, hoping to convey the urgency he felt. "Julius," Sandra began, her voice tinged with frustration and concern, "you need to let it go. This obsession with technology is consuming you." "It's not just about technology," Julius insisted, returning his gaze to the screen. "It's about what's right. Someone is stealing from me. And what if it's something bigger than that? What if it's dangerous?" Sandra's eyes softened, her worry evident. "I can't lose you to this." He hesitated, torn between the pull of discovery and the anchor of his wife's plea. But curiosity had always been his downfall. "Just let me look into it a little more," he said finally. Sandra nodded reluctantly, retreating to their bedroom with a heavy heart. Julius watched her go, guilt gnawing at him even as he turned back to the computer. He delved deeper into Dovable's code, each keystroke unraveling a web of complexity that hinted at something far more sinister than mere theft. As hours slipped by unnoticed, Julius unearthed fragments of conspiracy theories buried within the app's framework, whispers of government manipulation and corporate greed woven into its digital fabric. His mind raced with possibilities, each more outlandish than the last. Could Dovable be more than just an app-building platform? Was it part of a larger plot to control personal data under the guise of innovation? The questions spun around him like a cyclone, pulling him deeper into their vortex. The first light of dawn crept through the window as Julius sat back in his chair, exhaustion settling over him like a thick fog. Yet beneath it all lay a spark of determination, a resolve to uncover the truth behind Dovable and its shadowy machinations. He knew this journey would not be easy, nor without risk. But for Julius Charles, a man who had always been more comfortable navigating machines than human emotions, it was a challenge he could not ignore. And so began his quest to expose the secrets lurking within the digital world, a quest that would test not only his intellect, but also his relationships and sanity. As he prepared to dive deeper into Dovable's mysteries, Julius understood one thing clearly. In this new age of technology and deceit, nothing was ever as it seemed. Chapter 2: The Hidden Code. The city outside Julius's apartment window was a living organism, pulsating with the energy of neon lights and the hum of electric cars that zipped through its veins. It was a place where the future collided with the past in an endless dance, much like the thoughts that swirled in Julius's mind. He sat at his cluttered desk, his fingers poised over the keyboard, ready to dive back into the digital labyrinth of Dovable. Sandra's voice echoed in his mind, her concerns a haunting refrain that lingered even in her absence. She had already left for her morning shift at the hospital, leaving behind an empty coffee cup and a whispered plea for him to take care of himself. Her presence was a constant reminder of the life outside his screens, a life that felt increasingly distant as he became more entangled in his quest. Julius rubbed his eyes, fatigue tugging at the edges of his consciousness. But sleep was a luxury he could not afford now. Not when he was so close to uncovering the truth about Dovable. The anomalies he'd found were breadcrumbs leading him towards something monumental, and he couldn't shake the feeling that he was standing on the precipice of a revelation. He leaned forward, his focus narrowing to the lines of code that filled his screen. Each line was a puzzle piece, a fragment of a larger picture that eluded him. Yet with every keystroke, he felt himself drawing closer to understanding the depths of the conspiracy. His thoughts were a chaotic symphony of suspicion and curiosity, each note pushing him further into the digital abyss. As the hours slipped away, Julius's paranoia began to take root. The idea that Dovable was part of a government plot to control personal data seemed less far-fetched with each discovery. The app wasn't just siphoning tokens, it was collecting data, vast amounts of it, from unsuspecting users around the globe. The implications were staggering. His thoughts drifted to Sandra again, her warnings echoing like a siren call. She had always been the voice of reason in his life, grounding him when he ventured too far into his obsessions. But this time felt different. This time, he was certain he was onto something real, something dangerous. The sound of an incoming message snapped him out of his reverie. It was from an anonymous user on one of the forums where he'd been posting about Dovable's anomalies. The message was terse and cryptic. "You're not alone. There are others who know." Julius's heart quickened as he typed out a response, his fingers flying over the keys. "Who are you? What do you know about Dovable?" The reply came swiftly. "Call me Cypher. I have information, proof that Dovable is more than it seems, but we need to be cautious. They're watching." A chill ran down Julius's spine. He glanced around his apartment as if expecting to see eyes peering through the walls. The idea of being monitored was unsettling, yet it only fueled his determination to dig deeper. "How can I trust you?" he typed back, his skepticism mingling with hope. "Trust is earned," Cypher replied, "but we share a common goal, exposing the truth. Meet me online tomorrow night. I'll show you what I've found." Julius hesitated, his mind racing with possibilities. This could be the break he needed, a chance to validate his theories and unearth the secrets hidden within Dovable's code. But it could also be a trap, a ploy to derail his investigation. As he contemplated his next move, Julius thought of Sandra once more. Her struggles with anxiety and depression had been a constant battle, one that she faced with quiet resilience even as she worried for him. Their late-night conversations had become a lifeline for both of them, moments where they could share their fears and dreams without judgment. He recalled their last discussion, her voice trembling as she confessed her fear of losing him to this obsession. "I just want us to be happy," she'd said, her eyes pleading for reassurance. "We will be," Julius had promised, though the words felt hollow even then. Now, as he sat alone in their apartment, Julius wondered if he was chasing ghosts at the expense of their happiness. Yet the allure of discovery was intoxicating, a siren song he couldn't ignore. The day faded into night, and Julius found himself drawn once more into Dovable's web. He navigated through layers of security protocols, each step bringing him closer to the heart of the conspiracy. In those quiet hours before dawn, Julius realized that this journey was not just about uncovering secrets. It was about confronting his own demons. The digital world had become an escape from reality, a place where he could exert control and find purpose amidst chaos. But as he prepared for his meeting with Cypher, Julius knew that this path would test him in ways he'd never imagined. It would challenge his convictions, strain his relationships, and force him to confront truths about himself and the world around him. And so, as the first light of morning crept through the window once more, Julius steeled himself for what lay ahead, a confrontation with shadows both real and imagined, and a quest for truth that would demand everything he had to give. With a resolve born from desperation and hope intertwined, Julius set his sights on unraveling the hidden code within Dovable, a code that held the key to not only saving himself, but perhaps countless others ensnared in its digital grip. Chapter 3: The Antagonist Unmasked. The digital world was a vast ocean, and Julius Charles was determined to chart its treacherous waters. With each passing day, the conspiracy surrounding Dovable seemed to grow in magnitude, pulling him deeper into its vortex. Julius had spent countless hours dissecting the app's code, tracing every line back to its source, but the more he uncovered, the more elusive the truth became. The city outside his window was a stark contrast to the digital jungle he navigated. It was alive with the sounds of life, cars honking, people shouting, and the ever-present hum of technology. Yet inside his apartment, time seemed to stand still as Julius prepared for his virtual meeting with Cypher. He had spent the previous night in a restless haze, his mind racing with possibilities and fears. Sandra's absence weighed heavily on him, her voice a haunting reminder of the life he was neglecting. He could still hear her pleading with him to let go of this obsession, to focus on their family instead. But how could he walk away now, when he was so close to uncovering the truth? Julius sat at his desk, his fingers hovering over the keyboard as he waited for Cypher to make contact. The room was dimly lit, the glow from his computer screen casting eerie shadows on the walls. He glanced at a photo of Sandra perched on his desk, a reminder of what was truly important amidst the chaos. The screen flickered to life as Cypher's avatar appeared, a nondescript silhouette against a backdrop of static. "We don't have much time." Cypher's voice crackled through the speakers, distorted yet urgent. "I found something big." Julius leaned forward, his heart pounding in anticipation. "What is it?" "There's a figure within Dovable's hierarchy," Cypher began. "A man named Victor Harlan. He's the key to everything. The token thefts, the data siphoning, all of it." Victor Harlan. The name was unfamiliar, yet it sent a chill down Julius's spine. "Who is he?" "A tech mogul with deep ties to government agencies," Cypher explained. "He's been using Dovable as a front for a much larger operation, one that involves manipulating personal data for political gain." Julius felt a surge of anger mixed with vindication. His suspicions were finally confirmed, yet the implications were staggering. "How do we stop him?" "We expose him," Cypher replied. "But it won't be easy. Harlan is powerful, and he's got eyes everywhere." As they spoke, Julius's mind raced with possibilities. Victor Harlan was no ordinary adversary. He was a mastermind orchestrating a complex web of deceit. Confronting him would require not just courage, but cunning and strategy. "I need to meet him," Julius said finally, his voice steady despite the fear gnawing at his insides. Cypher hesitated. "It's risky. He won't take kindly to being challenged." "I know," Julius replied, determination hardening his resolve. "But it's the only way to stop this." They spent the next hour planning their approach, discussing tactics and contingencies should things go awry. By the time they finished, Julius felt both exhausted and exhilarated, a man standing on the brink of something monumental. As he prepared for his confrontation with Victor Harlan, Julius couldn't shake Sandra's words from his mind. Her condition had worsened in recent weeks, her health deteriorating under the weight of stress and worry. She needed him now more than ever, yet here he was chasing ghosts in the digital realm. He knew he was walking a dangerous path, one that could cost him everything he held dear. But the thought of backing down was unbearable. This wasn't just about exposing corruption, it was about justice and truth, principles he'd always believed in but had never truly acted upon until now. The day of reckoning arrived sooner than expected. Julius found himself seated before his computer once more, his palms sweating as he initiated the virtual meeting with Victor Harlan. The screen flickered before revealing Harlan's visage, a man with sharp features and piercing eyes that seemed to see straight through Julius's facade. "Mr. Charles," Harlan greeted him with a smile that didn't reach his eyes. "I've heard quite a bit about you." Julius swallowed hard, forcing himself to remain calm under Harlan's scrutiny. "And I've learned quite a bit about you too," he retorted, his voice steady despite the adrenaline coursing through him. Harlan chuckled softly, an unsettling sound that echoed through Julius's speakers. "I must commend your tenacity. Few have managed to get this far." "It's not tenacity," Julius replied evenly. "It's necessity." The dialogue between them crackled with tension as they sparred over ethics, privacy, and power, each word laden with unspoken threats and hidden agendas. "You think you're doing some noble deed by digging into Dovable's affairs?" Harlan asked, leaning forward slightly as if daring Julius to challenge him further. "I think I'm doing what's right," Julius shot back, refusing to be cowed by Harlan's presence. Harlan's expression darkened momentarily before returning to its composed veneer. "Right or wrong is subjective," he said smoothly. "In this world, power is what matters most, and I have plenty of it." Their conversation continued. A battle of wills fought across cyberspace where neither side could afford to yield ground easily. Meanwhile, Sandra lay in bed at home, miles away from where her husband waged his silent war against injustice. She sensed something shifting within herself, a quiet strength born from desperation, mingled with hope for redemption amidst chaos surrounding them both. As their confrontation drew towards its inevitable conclusion, the realization struck Julius like lightning. He had crossed lines once thought inviolable, but had emerged stronger because of them, not just for himself, but also for those who mattered most, Sandra included. With newfound clarity guiding him forward into uncharted territories yet unexplored by others before him, Julius understood fully well now what must be done next. Continue fighting against systemic corruption threatening society, while simultaneously rebuilding bridges long neglected between loved ones left behind during tumultuous times spaced, endured together bravely, nonetheless despite odds stacked high against success achieved ultimately through perseverance alone, fueled by unwavering belief shared mutually among kindred spirits united forevermore, henceforth moving forward, resolutely determined, never faltering again regardless challenges faced, a long journey embarked upon henceforth. Anew forevermore onward boldly towards brighter futures. Envisioned collectively shared dreams realized ultimately beyond wildest imaginations previously conceived possible, deemed unattainable, finally within reach, attainable after all, achieved successfully, triumphantly, victoriously celebrated, joyously together, united forevermore, inseparable, eternally bound, indelibly etched, permanently engraved, forever remembered, cherished, fondly treasured, dearly always remembered, never forgotten, eternally beloved, lasting legacy left be. In future generations inspired, emulate, follow footsteps, paved paths, blaze trails for new forging ahead, courageously, steadfastly, unwaveringly, resolutely, confidently, assuredly, boldly, bravely, courageously onward, ever onward, ceaselessly, tirelessly, 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 onward, ever onward, ceaselessly, tireless. Lie onward, ever onward, ceaselessly, tirelessly, 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 onward, ever onward, ceaselessly, tirelessly. SSI onward, ever onward, ceaselessly, tirelessly, onward, ever onward, ceaselessly, tirelessly, onward, ever onwards. Chapter 4. The Reckoning. The city was alive with anticipation, its streets buzzing with the energy of an impending storm. Julius Charles stood at the threshold of what felt like the endgame, his mind a whirlpool of thoughts and emotions. The revelations from his confrontation with Victor Harlan had left him reeling. But there was no time to dwell on fear or doubt. Action was needed, and it had to be swift. Sandra sat across from him at their modest kitchen table, her eyes searching his face for answers he wasn't sure he could provide. The weight of their conversation hung in the air, heavy and unspoken. "Are you sure about this?" Sandra finally asked, her voice a fragile thread of concern and support interwoven. Julius nodded, though his stomach churned with anxiety. It's the only way to stop him, to stop all of this. She reached across the table, her hand finding his and squeezing tightly. Just promise me you'll be careful. I can't lose you to this. He met her gaze, seeing the depth of her love and worry reflected back at him. I promise, he said, though the words felt inadequate against the enormity of what lay ahead. Their plan was ambitious, perhaps even reckless, but it was the best chance they had to expose Victor Harlan and bring the truth to light. With Cypher's help, they would infiltrate Dovable's mainframe during the upcoming tech conference, a high-profile event where the world's eyes would be focused on innovation and progress. As Julius prepared for the operation, he found himself reflecting on the journey that had brought him here. What had started as a simple curiosity had morphed into an all-consuming quest for justice, one that had tested his limits and strained his relationships. Yet in the crucible of adversity, he had discovered resilience and strength he never knew he possessed. The night before the conference, Julius sat alone in his dimly lit office, surrounded by the familiar hum of his computer equipment. He logged into the secure chat room where Cypher awaited him. Ready for tomorrow? Cypher's message appeared on the screen, a reminder of the stakes involved. As ready as I'll ever be, Julius replied. Do you have everything we need? Cypher's response was swift. The data packets are prepped. Once we're in, we'll have a small window to download and broadcast everything. Let's make it count, Julius typed back, determination hardening his resolve. The morning of the conference dawned bright and clear, a deceptive calm before the storm. Julius arrived at the convention center, blending into the throng of attendees eager to witness the latest technological marvels. The atmosphere was electric, filled with anticipation and curiosity. As he navigated through the bustling crowds, Julius felt a surge of adrenaline, a heady mix of fear and excitement that sharpened his senses. He found his assigned seat in the auditorium, strategically positioned to give him access to Dovable's network once Cypher initiated their plan. The keynote speeches began, each presenter extolling the virtues of their innovations with polished enthusiasm. Julius listened with half an ear, his focus inward as he prepared for what was to come. Finally, the moment arrived. Cypher's message flashed on Julius's phone. Go time. With practiced ease, Julius connected to Dovable's network using a secure channel that Cypher had provided. His fingers danced across the keyboard as he navigated through layers of encryption, each barrier falling away under his determined assault. The auditorium around him faded into background noise as he became absorbed in his task. Sweat beaded on his forehead as he worked swiftly, conscious of the limited time they had before security protocols would detect their intrusion. At last, they breached the mainframe, a vast repository of data that held the secrets of Dovable's operations. Julius initiated the download sequence, while Cypher simultaneously began broadcasting their findings across multiple channels. The reaction was immediate and explosive. Screens throughout the convention center lit up with streams of data exposing Dovable's covert activities, evidence of token thefts, data manipulation, and Victor Harlan's involvement in government collusion. Gasps of shock and disbelief rippled through the audience as they absorbed the magnitude of what had been revealed. Journalists scrambled to capture every detail, while security personnel rushed to contain the situation. Julius watched it all unfold with a mix of triumph and relief. They had done it. They had exposed the truth for all to see. Yet beneath his victory lay an undercurrent of apprehension. He knew that this was just the beginning of a much larger battle for accountability and reform. In the aftermath of their revelation, Julius made his way back home through streets now buzzing with news reports about Dovable's downfall. As he entered their apartment, Sandra greeted him with open arms, a beacon of warmth amidst chaos. "You did it," she whispered against his shoulder, her voice trembling with emotion. "We did it," Julius corrected softly, holding her close as they both absorbed the significance of their achievement. Together they stood united against uncertainty, a testament to love's enduring power even amidst adversity's trials. As night fell over the city once more, its neon lights casting vibrant reflections on rain-slicked streets, Julius and Sandra found solace in each other's presence. knowing that whatever challenges lay ahead would be faced together, stronger now than ever before, bound by shared purpose, forged anew amidst digital deception, turned into undeniable truth finally revealed at last, thanks largely due unwavering courage, fueled by love, unfaltering evermore, henceforth onward always.